One of the things I've learned about being an avid dog walker is that there is such a thing as off the beaten track. One of the things that I've learned is that if you actually have a look at the side of the roads and at the side of the fields, there's oftentimes a little public footpath that almost nobody remembers. Everybody's driving past it to get to places which are officially designated as beauty spots. And so these places, these little gems, they just go straight past them. Nobody ever comes here, and if you keep your eyes out you can see quite a bit of them. I'm standing on a little stream, little stony bridge on a little forgotten stream here. There's a path to the side which is a little bit rough around the edges, but unfortunately somebody has been here, because all you've got to do is take a look at what's down the end here. Look at that. Look at that. Imagine the mentality of that. I mean, just try and wrap your head around the mentality of that. What were they thinking? You're in the middle of nowhere, so let's just start from the top. There's a big pressure on these days to pick up your dog shit, because there's stuff in it. If it's in the wrong place, it can spread disease. It's especially bad for kids. Alright, we understand that. But if you're in the middle of a path where nobody goes, why not just leave it there? Alright, so that's the first thing. Just leave it there. Doesn't matter. It won't matter. It'll rot. There's very little chance anybody's gonna slip in it or a kid's gonna fall in it. It'll disappear pretty quickly. So the second thing is, so you're going to pick it up to be a dutiful citizen. Alright, I understand that as well, fair enough. But then you're going to leave it on the end of a scenic little bridge for some other poor bastard to pick up. I mean, why? What are you thinking? Well, I know what they're thinking. I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, I'll do me duty, but oh no, there's not a bin around for miles and miles, and unfortunately I'm going to have to walk around with a bag of dog shit in my pocket. So what I'm going to do is discreetly put it on the end of the bridge there, and then let's hope that somebody else comes along and picks it up. But I've done my part. I've done my bit in the process here. There's actually a whole process, like a whole politics and a whole psychology around like the turd bags now. And I've actually done a blog post on this years ago, especially when it's relating to women, because if I'm honest, a bloke would have, I'm pretty sure that would have been a woman who left that there, because a bloke would have just left the dog crap on the ground. And I've seen some weird things when I've been out and about, like with women and how they actually deal with picking up dog turds, because it didn't used to be like this. When I was a kid, there was dog shite everywhere, and it was awful. But what's happened since is that they've clamped down on it, and all right, rightly so, and you don't see it as much anymore. But really, it's because there's a social stigma being attached to it. They've made it like a moral issue. So, and again, I don't mind that much. Especially when it's outside of a school or on pavements and all of this. That's fine. You know, no problem. One of the things I've noticed about what happens with women, and yeah, blokes are men are the worst for just leaving it there. One of the things I've discovered about women, and I think you can connect it to wider political issues as well, and women really will go right out of their way to like pick a dog turd up. And I've seen some really like crazy things. So I first noticed this when I was actually up in the Cheviots. And a woman, she had like a spaniel, and they run all over the place. And the spaniel ran through this like boggy marsh. The Northumberland, it's a really boggy area, especially the Cheviots. And it ran through all of this boggy area, and then the dog squatted down and had a turd. But it was like 100 meters or so off the main path. And then this woman with her hiking boots on, she'll like treks across. Like in one of the most remotest parts of the country, she treks across all of this mud and all of this boggy marsh, and in order to pick a dog turd up and put it in a bag, and then she's going to have to carry that bag around, let's assume, and she doesn't just throw it to one side, for the next like hour and a half or whatever. And I thought that, like, the problem here is that if you just left it there, like it would be fine to just leave a dog turd in the middle of nowhere, for God's sake. And it's as if so what's happened in the female brain is that this it's become a moral issue, and they can't shirk it off. So they go to extraordinary lengths to abide by what's now become a sort of sign of social status. It's low status to leave a dog turd on the side of a pavement. We all understand that. It means you don't care about people, you know. But the problem is they don't seem to be able to kind of cut that off. They don't seem to be able to say, like, they don't seem to be able to draw a line and then say, well, but now it's getting a little bit silly, because now I'm trudging across mud and bog in like the wildest part of the country in order to pick up a dog turd which would just rot there. So it's as if and I mean, on my blog post I related this back to more hot button topics in political issues about our out-group altruism. So is there any, like, we all understand it, and I've got to be careful because this will go on YouTube, but we all understand that there's you can't just be horrible to people. But where then do you draw the line? Like, is it do you see what I mean? Like, does it ever end? In the same way, like, so when will we draw the line on when it becomes too absurd to pick up like a dog turd? Is it when the dog turd is in the middle of a lake, like you've got a frozen pond, and the dog runs into the middle of it and then does a turd and then leaves it sitting there? Like, is it that you're going to be a good person and you want to signal that, you know, you're not low social status, and so you will then kind of go out into the middle of a frozen pond to pick the dog turd up? What about if the dog turd's right on the side of a cliff by a coast, and there's like a really strong wind coming from the land and then outwards? Are you going to risk getting blown off the side of a cliff because you're picking up a dog turd because you don't want to be seen as low social status? You don't want to be seen as kind of being dumb, being one of the low grade plebs who just doesn't care and isn't considerate. So the question becomes, like, when does it become enough? When do you draw the line? When can you kind of snap out of it and think, okay, we understand that there's a moral pressure on you to behave in a certain way, but like, it can get kind of suicidal if you don't know when to draw the line.